Hello, and welcome to this video brought to you by Kata School Northeast, all about experimenting toward the target condition. Now, experimenting toward the target condition moves us out of the planning phase, which is steps 1 through 3 of the Improvement Kata, and into the executing phase, step 4, experimenting toward the target condition. So you should now have a challenge statement describing what you're trying to achieve and by when, a current condition complete with operating pattern, process characteristics, process metrics, and outcome metrics, and a target condition that is a step on the way to your challenge, consisting of an achieve by date, a desired operating pattern, and targets for process metrics and outcome metrics. So now it's time to experiment towards your target condition. You'll notice in this image, the learner is writing their path to the target condition as they go. And that is exactly how it is in this phase. You learn your way forward. So how do you actually experiment towards your target condition? From the Toyota Kata practice guide, they say the path to your target condition cannot be completely determined in advance through logic, calculation, or debate. During this step of the Improvement Kata, you will use an experimenting record to document and guide the steps or experiments you will run. And these experiments are conducted at what is called your threshold of knowledge with the help of your coach during daily coaching cycles. So let's talk about this threshold of knowledge thing. The threshold of knowledge is best described as how far to your target condition you actually know, or the point at which you do not have any facts or data to go forward on, and you begin to guess and extrapolate. So this is our threshold of knowledge. So imagine you're in a large, dark room, and all you can see is the exit sign. The exit sign is your target condition, and the darkness around you represents the uncertainty zone. You don't know the exact path you need to take through the room to avoid bumping into furniture to get out. Now, you do have a flashlight. The distance you can see in the room as you shine your flashlight is representative of your threshold of knowledge with respect to how to get to your target condition. And as you take each step forward, your flashlight shines just a little further, demonstrating how your threshold of knowledge moves closer to your target condition with each experiment. So some of you may be asking, well, how can I tell if I'm at my threshold of knowledge? A couple of ways are to examine the words that you use when you're thinking about your next step or thinking about where you are with respect to your target condition. Words and phrases like I think, probably, maybe, perhaps, and could are really good examples that you are probably at your threshold of knowledge. Additionally, if you talk about reducing or increasing something by percentages, that's kind of vague. And that may also mean that you're at a threshold of knowledge. And of course, any anecdotes without data mean that you're at your threshold of knowledge. And the coach's job is to help find the threshold of knowledge and ensure that the learner is conducting an experiment there and always against an obstacle. So what's an obstacle? Well, an obstacle is anything in your way of running your target condition process and achieving your target condition process metrics. These can easily be seen when you compare your current condition and target condition. And any difference between the two represents an obstacle. Now, there may be things that you think are in your way of achieving your target condition, but aren't reflected as a difference between your current condition and target condition. That's okay. These and observed differences between your current and target condition should all be documented in the obstacles parking lot. This is where all obstacles are kept. And then when we are ready to experiment, we will choose one obstacle from this parking lot. And then that one obstacle will be plugged into our experimenting record up at the top left. Now, as a rule of thumb, you only ever have one obstacle per experimenting record. So a new obstacle means a new experimenting record. Now, in this experimenting record, you're going to fill it out from left to right. The first spot is for what you are going to do or try. And this should be a small, specific step toward understanding more about the obstacle or overcoming it. This step should be written in such a way that someone else could read it and know what to do. The next thing is our expectation or hypothesis. Here is where we will document what we think will happen from taking the step, how we will know, what we will learn, how we will feel, etc. Once we've taken the step, we then can fill in what actually happened. This should include observations, data, feelings, etc. And then finally, we're going to document what we learned. This is generally the most difficult for people starting out. So here we want to focus on what is different than what we expected from the step and what we can infer from that. The differences in what we expected to happen and what actually happened during our step are where the learnings are. Those learnings should then help inform the next step that we take, and so on and so forth. So now let's look at a filled out experimenting record with a real example. So this is a real example of an experiment I ran. So my obstacle was that I spent 32 more seconds writing a script for my video compared to my operating pattern. The step I took was to write a generic script that I could add elements to based on the content I would be recording for the next few videos, and then use that to write the next script. I expected that it would take me 20 minutes to write a generic version, that it would cut 40 seconds out of the time of that step when I ran it, and that it would eliminate that obstacle. So what actually happened is it took me 6 minutes and 42 seconds to write out the script, which covered the first 2 to 3 slides and the last 2 for pretty much any topic that I wanted to make a video about. This cut out 2 minutes of the process step, which then meant I no longer had that obstacle. And what I learned was that I could write a script that allowed me to fill in the blanks for future videos. The script helped me overcome the obstacle. The script helped me gain 1.5 minutes more time back than I expected, and that I could use this time to focus more on the meat of the content. So one important thing about this experimenting record is that each section from left to right should be connected. Every portion of the step should have an expectation. Every expectation should have a corresponding what actually happened, and every what actually happened should have a learning. These are the logic links across your record, also known as the golden thread. These threads and links demonstrate your scientific thinking. So once you've experimented against a single obstacle and overcome it, it is no longer an obstacle to this target condition, and you can remove it from the parking lot. You then repeat this cycle of choosing one obstacle, running experiments against it until you overcome it and you achieve your target condition process and process metrics. And then you've achieved your target condition. Congratulations. So to wrap up, here are some tips for experimenting towards the target condition. It's really important to conduct experiments against obstacles and one at a time. This way, you're not changing too many variables at once, and you can have a real understanding of how the obstacle affected your process and process metrics. Experiments should be conducted at the threshold of knowledge. This is where you need to learn more about the obstacle, about your process, or about the solution or the cause to that obstacle. Focus on learning when you're experimenting. I like to think about every step I take. What do I expect to learn from that? And when you document that, the rest of the record, especially up toward the learning, become much easier to fill out. And the last thing is that the boxes on the experimenting record are small for a reason. They force you to be very concise and succinct in your step, expectation, what actually happened, and your learnings, which also help reinforce the scientific thinking pattern. So go forth and experiment your way to your target condition. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to learn more about the Improvement Kata, check out our other videos or check out our weekly learning sessions. For more information on those and the happenings at Kata School Northeast, reach out via LinkedIn or email us at kmallery, that's KMALLERY, at kataschoolnortheast.org. Thank you so much.